Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Breitling Navitimer 01. This is the 43mm wide version of the Navitimer 01, and there's also a 46mm wide version. This particular model is in the 18-karat red gold case with the sort of traditional, what I'll call black and white panda dial. And that's because you have those white-colored chronograph subdials, as well as the white there for the slide rule bezel. The Navitimer it's an absolute classic. It's been around since the 50s, I believe, in many different forms. And today, Breitling produces really a countless variety of them. In the written review of the specific watch, I talk a little bit about just sort of the variety of models that Breitling produces with different movements, different case sizes, different dials, different style hour markers. You have ones with Roman numeral, not Roman numeral, Arabic numeral, baton. You have one with a 24-hour dial as opposed to a 12-hour dial. There's just so much variety within the Navitimer collection, but sort of at its essence, the reason this is sort of a popular timepiece, in addition to its heritage as an aviation instrument, is the fact that it's still very much a tool watch, but happens to look quite good on the wrist. So it's what I'll call a handsome tool watch, sort of the same way that a Rolex Submariner is a handsome tool watch with sort of a vintage style, but a lot of appeal today. In rose gold, it adds a sort of wealth element, right? I wouldn't call it a blingy watch, even though it is a gold watch, but there's definitely sort of the fact saying that I do like tool watches. I like functionality. That's something that is important to me in my watch wearing habits, but I could afford a little bit more and I decided to get gold. If you get this in stainless steel, sort of the same effect. You don't have sort of the gold on the dial there as well, which is kind of interesting because you take the gold case and then you have the gold color print as well as the hour markers in the hands. So again, this is a luxury product given that it's gold, but it doesn't feel sort of like a blingy watch. So if you have to have a gold watch, but definitely want something that's a little bit more on the subtle side, honestly, the Navitimer is the way to go. There's of course other options, but it's an interesting choice. But then again, it's kind of funny to find people that want a Navitimer, but also want a gold watch. So in a sense, it is niche, but it's sort of cool in that way. So the slide rule bezel is a signature feature of the Navitimer. And you can see here, you turn the bezel. It doesn't click or anything like that, but Breitling has really sort of a buttery smooth kind of feel to it. So it moves smoothly and softly, but it has enough tension so that it's just sort of not flying all over the place. The scale on the outside of the bezel and the scale on the inside can be used for a variety of calculations. So it's essentially a form of calculator, albeit essentially a basic one. I have to admit, I haven't spent a huge amount of time learning how to do these things. I've done them once in a while. We have a guide on aBlogtoWatch, and I believe Breitling also has information on their website on how to use it. And then, of course, you have the chronograph, which offers yet another set of features. So in essence, the combination of having the time, the chronograph, as well as the slide rule bezel give this watch an enormous amount of calculation or measuring techniques, and that's really what makes it so much of a tool watch, right? It's not about like water resistance or anything like that. It's about being sort of a calculation instrument for a pilot or someone else that would need to do things that require that. These days, of course, that is pretty much obsolete. We don't need to do those things, but that's sort of why it's there. And you can see here on the back, there's an additional scale here, which appears to be a temperature conversion scale to go from Celsius to Fahrenheit, which is pretty neat. And again, sort of part of the tool watch heritage of the Navitimer. Now, inside the Navitimer, like I said, is the Breitling Caliber 01 movement. That's their in-house made automatic chronograph. It's a 4 Hertz movement. It operates with about 70 hours of power reserve. It's an upgrade over the Valjo 7750, which exists in a different version of the Navitimer, which I believe is the Navitimer World. And there are Navitimer models with in-house movements, such as the 01, as well as other Navitimer models that do not have in-house movements, but ones that Breitling sources from Swiss ETA. Attached to this model is this really nice black crocodile strap. Breitling always does a good job with straps, and of course not something you're going to be let down with here. There's also a full gold Navitimer style bracelet, which you can match with this 43mm wide model, but I don't think you have that same option with the larger 46mm wide model. Navitimer watches can go all the way up to 48mm wide. That's true. I think that's the GMT version. and it can go down to about 42 millimeters wide with some others. So there's a huge amount of variation there, but I think most people, if they're looking for that fuller Breitling experience, the Navitimer 01 not only has in-house movement, but at 43 millimeters wide is a very solid wearing choice for the majority of people. But again, if you have larger wrists or want something bigger, those options exist. So again, this is the Breitling Navitimer 01 here in the 18-karat rose gold case. Price is about $20,800, and you can see more on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.